You are?
Yeah, for life. Ew, my hair.
Look at mine.
Ah, think so. Like that. For everyone to see. Highway. Hey guys. Hi. Shoot, I spelled that wrong. Come on, come on. Come on. Sure. It's okay. You know how to do it? Let me show you real quick what you do. Just watch up here, see if anyone comes in.
Yep.
Okay.
Hello.
We'll be ready here in a few minutes. We're going to wait for people to come in. I got it. Keep watching, baby.
Okay.
Uh,
We'll be ready here in just a minute.
If it come join us. Good?
Good.
Hi, guys. How are y'all? Oh, they can't even see my Arkansas shirt. Dang it. Yeah, sure. Okay, guys, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to go ahead and start doing something a little different. Instead of the Dre McCrae stuff, I want to start going live. And, right now we're going to be looking into the Alex Murdaugh case. And we're going to be doing that probably for a while. Probably until it ends, right?
Yeah. And look at some other cases.
Yeah, and we want to look at other cases too. We don't just want to stick with the Dre McCrae stuff. We're beyond that right now. We want to go live and have fun and have you guys join in with us. And yeah, so I'm gonna do something different and it's gonna work and we're gonna have fun. So go ahead.
Okay, well, tonight we're going to discuss the 2015 death of Stephen Smith and how that relates, or if it does relate, to the Murdaugh family. Also, we're going to look at the testimony of Chris Wilson. He was Alex Murdaugh's best friend for over 30 years. We're also going to look at the car data taken from Alex's car. And then we want to look at a list of indictments against Alex Murdaugh and just see what all is there.
Yeah, so Stephen Smith, I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he was brought up what was it? Let me see. Oh, in the investigation. That's what it was. In Stephen's investigation. First off, I'm sorry guys. First off, he was found dead in the street July 8th, 2015. Okay. And he was poor. He didn't have a lot of money, so his case wasn't in the spotlight really. Not like the Murdaughs. Murdaughs, everything blows up for them. They get seen on the news all the time. Not Stephen. Stephen was friends with Paul, and he was also friends with what's his name, babe? Buster. They were friends, okay. And anyways, July 8th, he was found dead in the road. And the Murdaughs were mentioned like over 40 times in Stephen's case. Like 48 times they were mentioned. And in Stephen Smith's case, you know, there's what is the name of that? A sledge?
Sled.
Sled. I'm sorry. Now I'm
I
saying
call
what
it a
you.
sledge.
Now I'm saying what you said. Anyways, Sled did not want um it wasn't Sled, it was hold on a second, I'm
Yeah,
getting
it was the
my
investigators. It was Sled.
no, the highway
Oh, it was
patrol
Highway Patrol.
the highway patrol were the ones that were handling the case. Okay. And the highway patrol and also there was a pathologist. And the pathologist wanted to say it was a hit and run. Well, the problem with that was on Steven's knuckles, his knuckles were all messed up, and he had some other, I guess, defensive wounds. He had a hole in his eye. His legs were like pushed up towards him. His knees were, and anyways, that pathologist wanted to say that that he was ran over. Well, who was it that came in? Was it Sledge that? Hold on a second. Let me see real quick, guys. Hold on a sec. Oh, the FBI. That's right. The FBI came in. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to go ahead and look at the cell phone, you know, Steven's cell phone. And Sledge had said no, you know, they didn't want him to. And, you know, the FBI also wanted to um, do a test for RAE on the body. And Sledge said no about that too. And they wanted to do something about what was it? Some kind of let me see y'all.
They also wanted to do a rape kit.
Yeah, they wanted to do that. They wanted to do the rape kit. Oh, they wanted to check for the gunshot residue. You know, they wanted to see if there was any anywhere. And I'm sorry. Um, anyways, um, they had said no to that. You know, so anything they wanted to do, they were shot down. So let's see what else, y'all. I don't know what else. Y'all, I have notes that I made because there's like so much involved in this case. Yeah, you guys, and they waited 6 years to open up the investigation again, right?
Yeah.
So the mom has waited 6 years. And the reason they opened the whole case up was because the Murdaugh murders. So that's why they opened up the Stephen Smith case.
Well, no one knows why, but their timing was exactly when Maggie and Paul were murdered. And all of a
Yes.
sudden they opened it back up. And some people say that there's a red flag there because of the Murdaugh murders, that their name was brought up so many times in this that they wanted to see if it was related in any way.
Yeah. A weird thing too was that Randy Murdaugh was actually at the scene of Stephen Smith when he was in the road, which Stephen Smith's mom thought that was really weird. She didn't understand that. You know, the boys had played sports and stuff like that. They were friends and stuff. And they also found some kind of paint chips on Stephen's shirt that was blue, and it matched actually a doom buggy that Paul and Buster had at their house. So that was kind of weird too. That was mentioned. Do you want to talk about something, or you want me to go ahead and talk about?
You know, and this is speculation and rumors,
Mm-hmm.
but still, it's interesting. It's been reported. Okay, Stephen Smith was gay. Okay, and the rumor mill was that he'd had some kind of relationship with Buster. Now, there's no facts to that or nothing to prove that, but that was in one of the anonymous tips. Supposedly, that was said that Buster and um, Stephen Smith had some kind of relationship.
Okay.
Well, that's really all I
Oh,
have to
okay.
add on
Okay,
that.
yeah. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Um, one of the coroners had got fired because she disagreed with actually the what was it? The pathologist. She actually got fired for disagreeing, you know. Um, there were actually quite a few people that disagreed with the hit and run idea, you know. She said, "What?" How's everyone doing? Hey guys, awesome to see you. Okay, girl. Is that your hubby? Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad to see you too. This is my fiance, y'all. Wade.
Hi.
Yeah, but let me see what this says, y'all. Can you read that?
I can't read you right. I can barely read mine.
I don't even know what it says, you know. I make these notes and I can't even read them. That's pretty bad. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and you guys, I wanted to talk about Chris Wilson too. Chris Wilson was actually he's Murdaugh's best friend. Okay.
Have any of you guys watched or did you watch Chris's testimony?
Yeah.
Someone says they did. That's good. That's good. But that was heart wrenching.
Yes.
It's terrible.
I mean, it was very emotional. And actually, Chris had a case with Mack Trucks. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Mack, it's a company with trucks.
Absolutely. The comment there is he was hurting for his buddy. He sure was. He's hurting for a guy that he trusted and thought was his best friend.
Yeah.
He ripped him off.
So there was a case with Mack Trucks, and let's see. There was a wreck and somebody was injured. He was injured. Somebody was injured. I believe somebody lost their life too.
Well, he eventually died. He eventually passed away.
Yeah. And anyways, they ended up getting all together. There was 3 attorneys, including Alec. Yeah. Yeah. And anyways, there were 3, and Alec was one of them. And when it came down to it, there was a big settlement of $600,000, right? Was it 6 or 7?
760, I think.
760,000. Anyways, what Alec wanted to borrow some too? Is that what it was? Do you remember?
Yeah, what it was he had talked Alec into giving him the money and letting him disperse it.
Oh yeah, and he put it into an annuity.
He did.
He said he put the money in the annuity. And wait. First off, the check. Who does the check go to?
The check was supposed to go into the trust.
Yeah, the check was supposed to go into the trust, y'all. Instead, Alex said, "You know what? Go ahead and give it to me, and I will get it to the company, and the company you work for." And he said he'd do that. So his friend Chris said, "Oh, okay." So he went ahead and gave the money to Alec. Well, come to find out, guess what? No money, right? He actually said, what's his name? No, Chris. Yeah, Chris said, "Hey, I need that money back," because he shelled out $192,000.
Someone just made the comment, come on now, said he knew how to manipulate. You are absolutely right. He's a fantastic manipulator.
Yeah, he really was. I mean, he manipulated everybody, but the money, the $700,000 was supposed to be paid back, right?
Right. The 760,000.
Yeah, $760,000 was supposed to be paid back. But I don't understand. Why did he give it to Alec in the beginning? And why did he have to give it back to Chris?
Well, I had to give it back to Chris because that was the total settlement. That wasn't just the attorney fees. That was the whole settlement.
Okay. So the whole settlement, Chris was having to disperse,
Yes,
and Alec was supposed to,
supposed to disperse it for him.
and he didn't do it, right?
Yep. Yep.
And there was $192,000 that was missing, which was Chris's, and he was supposed to be paid back. Well, I'm sorry, I keep doing that. I know it's annoying. Let's see.
He got back 600,000.
Yeah, he got 600,000 back.
He paid him back 600,000, but he never got the other 160,000,
Yeah,
and never did get it back from him.
right. But what happened too was, when all the chaos was going on, and Alec did the wound thing with his head. Do you guys remember that? Where he grazed his head?
The attempted suicide.
Yeah, attempted suicide.
Supposedly that Curtis Eddie Smith
Well,
shot him.
right before that, Chris had met him on the side of the road, to talk to him. And Chris said something about the money. And see, why do I always lose my train of thought?
He said something about the money, and he thought that Alex was suicidal.
Yeah, he did. He thought that Alex was going to off himself. So, hey, Mom, how are you? And anyways, he had got a hold of Alex and told Alex, said, I don't know what to do because you owe me this money. And he said, if something happens to you, I'm not going to get my money if you end up killing yourself or whatever.
Yeah, he did admit about the pills and the drug addiction at this time when he was talking to Chris.
He sure did. He sure did. Glad to see you, Mom. Yeah, but anyways, Chris came out and said, hey, I'm not going to get my money if something happens to you, and I want my money back. And of course, he didn't want to talk about that, but he went ahead and came out and said it. So he wrote this little note to Alex, said, fine. He's like, we made this deal, So Alex went ahead and wrote the note saying, you can have your money out of my estate if I die, if something happens to me.
His inheritance from his father.
Yeah, and he also talked about he had an inheritance coming from his father's death. So, he was also thinking, Chris was thinking, well, I might get my money back kind of thing, And yeah. Chris loved the kids though. They would go on family vacations and they would go golfing together. They'd have a good time together.
They were just so close.
Yeah, they were. And Chris never would have thought that this was going to happen. He respected, Alex. He really did. He had a lot of respect for him.
You want me to?
Go ahead. You can do that.
Well, I was going to relate a story to that, and you never know. Sometimes people.
Yes, Chris.
Well, yeah, but several years ago, I became good friends with a person, and they were at my house at the time. Their wife and them, family got together, cookouts, friends for several years. Well, we kind of grew apart, and they moved to a different part of the country, and I moved to a different part of the country. And I would have swore that this guy was the most outstanding person you could meet. He ran a moving company. All of a sudden, I get a phone call. He had been murdered. He had been executed. And this guy did such a good job hiding it. His wife didn't know. His stepchildren didn't know. His daughters didn't know. He was a drug runner. So you never know. You really never know. I just thought I thought about Pat.
Alex Murdaugh could manipulate anyone. He was like a snake. Nobody could trust him. Nobody can trust him. He has no remorse for anything he's done. Nothing. I mean, you could see it in his face. And at one point I seen him doing this. Like one of the girls was talking.
Wasn't that when the housekeeper was
I
testifying?
think it was when the lady was describing about the suit that he was wearing.
Oh, okay.
His lawyer was up there questioning her. And when he was you're getting annoyed about me, huh? Moving my hands all the time. Yeah. But he was up there questioning. I forgot what I was saying again. Sorry, guys.
He was questioning the paralegal.
No, it wasn't the paralegal. It was the
Oh, it's forensic
lady.
Okay.
Questioning that lady about the rain suit he was wearing. You guys know the blue tart thing? We need to talk about that too one of these days.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. Anyways, talking about that, and he's going like this, like, haha, you know.
I think
kind of
you
thing.
talked about the blue tarp the other night.
Did I?
Yeah, about how you thought it was yours.
Yeah.
The gun was wrapped up there and fired inside the blue tarp.
Yeah, you guys need to watch that one if you guys can. That was pretty interesting about the.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We try. He's annoying. No, I'm kidding. I'm annoying him with my hands. I keep moving my hands. I keep going like this too, and it annoys him.
The dog keeps thinking that someone's knocking the door.
I know. Surprised she ain't barking. Okay, do you want to talk about the car deal? It's pretty interesting, actually.
Did any of you guys see the car data and the experts testifying to that? It was very interesting. Before I go through the data, I'll tell you how this worked. Our cars have a brain, and they have all this electronic stuff in them, and you can tell when the engine starts. You can tell when it's put in drive. You can tell when it's put back in park. It's kind of like the old story, Big Brother's watching. Well, it's hard to get away with something. And so what they have to do is they have to verify their car data. They have to get another vehicle, same year, same model, and they test it side by side to make sure that data is correct. And the way they do that is they, drive the car to certain areas back and forth and make sure that data registers and that's correct. Well, anyway, it was really interesting. The car data from June the 7th, 2021 says at 9:06 p.m. the car departs Moselle Road for Alex Murdagh's house. It arrives at 3:22 p.m. At 9:43 departs Alex Murdagh's home. Okay, that's 21 minutes. Now here's a backstory to that. Remember, the caregiver testified that Alex was there 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. Well, Alex had went to her, looked at her the next day and said, I was here 30 to 40 minutes. More or less an intimidating way. Well, at 9:43, so that's 21 minutes later, the car left. Okay. At 10 o'clock p.m., it arrives at his home. Okay. At 10:04, he drives to the dog kennel. Okay, it takes approximately 1 minute to get there. At 10:06, he calls 911. At 10:11, he drives back to the house, then back to the kennels. He's on the phone with 911 during all this time. Now, there's something here that I want to say about this, because I thought about this too. Okay, we know he's a manipulator, a liar, a narcissist, a psychopath, and he's nuts. But these timetables, other than lying about how long he was with his mom, kind of fits what he said. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking up for the guy, but it does fit. If I was the defense attorney, I'd say, wait a minute, the guy made a mistake. It wasn't 21 minutes. Okay, I don't know what the deal was with him talking to the caregiver, but all this other stuff fits what he said. He said he found him. We know he didn't touch him. That's a lie. But he says, I went back to the house and got a shotgun because I was worried someone else was still there. So we'll see how the defense, how they handle that in the long run. One thing too is, and we're going to talk tomorrow night or Saturday night. We're going to talk about co-conspirators with Alex Murdaugh and all his crimes, because
he's got some.
Nobody can do this. They have discovered 3, but there's probably more. I mean, there's a lot of money gone. But Curtis Eddie Smith, cousin Eddie, I just want to touch on him for a minute because I've watched some stuff with him, and they call him the hillbilly hitman.
He is a hillbilly too.
He's a hillbilly. He's a redneck hillbilly. But Alex filtered $2.4 million to Curtis Eddie Smith over a period of time. It's pretty crazy. The next thing that I wanted to look at, I thought the data was interesting. The guy lost me about 15 times or more. He looks exactly like my cousin's husband. I kept.
Yeah, he did.
I didn't know you were in that business. We'll just briefly talk about
the indictments.
And we're not going to cover all 99 of them, so don't leave.
Y'all aren't going to believe the stuff he was into, though. He was a mess. Can I say something?
Sure.
He has a background, what do you call it? A criminal background that goes back.
Oh, yeah.
Alex does.
Yeah.
So.
Criminal activity.
Yeah.
Not
drugs.
Conviction, but this is crazy. And I've had this in my notes, but I'll say this right now. Today, I heard a report that more indictments are coming out concerning drugs.
Can you guys believe that? More indictments.
This guy was crazy, I guess.
His piece of work.
In October 2021, he was arrested for stealing $4.3 million from his housekeeper's estate. These are poor people. I mean, they have nothing. And their dear mother fell and hit her head and ended up passing away at Alex's house. Sad. These people have nothing. He had sued his own insurance company. He made the offer, con man. He made the offer.
He wanted to give them $100,000 each. Two boys.
But he made the offer. He would sue his own insurance company, represent them, sue his own insurance company, and he did. And he never gave them the money. This is a lady that helped raise Buster and Paul. For over 20 years, she was their housekeeper. And somebody said, what was the hillbilly doing for him? The hillbilly was laundering money for him. And also, there was drugs involved.
Yep. Selling drugs.
There's going to be more.
Wasn't it selling drugs?
Selling drugs, yeah. But he was arrested in October of 2021 for that, for stealing the money from his housekeeper's estate. Now here's cousin Eddie. In June 2022, Alex and Curtis Eddie Smith, cousin Eddie, were indicted for purchasing and distributing oxycodone in multiple counties. So the guy's a thief. They haven't proved beyond a reasonable doubt that he's a murderer, but very possible. and a drug dealer and a drug addict.
Yep.
In December of 2021, he was indicted for 9 counts of tax evasion of over $6 million. $6 million, $6
Hold on. Oops.
million of money they can't trace where it come from. We know where it came from, but he didn't offer any proof. 14 counts of fraudulent intent, obtaining signatures or property by false pretense.
Speak up a little bit.
Also, money laundering, computer crimes, and forgery. He was also charged with stealing $121,358.63 from his own brother, Randy.
Randy.
There was money that was due to Randy in the fund at the law office, and Alex took it.
He is a lot of things.
He
sure is.
Now his brother Randy is suing him for $46,500 of loans he didn't pay back. That doesn't include the $75,000 that he loaned him and he didn't pay back, as well as when he went to drug rehab, Randy paid $15,000 for the drug rehab. So, I guess we're kind of making the case like the prosecution did. It still doesn't prove his guilt, what we've said tonight. But the timetable doesn't add up. The residue on the coat. I guess tonight is we just basically talked about suspicions, charges.
Mm-hmm.
We realize that people are innocent and proven guilty. Well, there is a lot of smoke.
Yes.
Over Alex Murdaugh's head.
Yes, there really is.
And somebody
there's so many
here,
things repeatedly over and over and over. I mean, it's just building up, y'all.
I'll touch on this.
Accomplice.
I think let's get it. I think there's accomplice. Well, now we're going to go back to the hillbilly.
Yep.
Hillbilly hitman. Okay, and this is several reports on, and it's very possible, 2 guns. Why would you take 2 guns? You're one person to kill 2 people. Okay. Now we're going to get back to Cousin Eddie. Okay. Cousin Eddie took a lie detector test. And when he was asked about Paul and Maggie's murder, said that needle just went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't mean he was lying, but insinuates he's lying.
Yep.
So I would, if Alex Murdaugh did kill his wife and son, and he did have an accomplice, I think it'd be a safe bet to look at Cousin Eddie.
Murdaugh really, really liked Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, and Cousin Eddie just worshipped him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys, we live in the South, and I love Southerners, but this guy is a hillbilly. I mean, he's an uneducated, awkward, goofy-looking, goofy-acting hillbilly.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying nothing bad about anyone else. I'm talking about this individual because my family's all hillbillies. But this guy was so infatuated by this wealthy, well-known lawyer paying him attention, and Alex played him. The way they met was he represented Eddie in a suit when he was hurt. And Alex pulled him in, his buddy, his friend, got his trust, got him to laundry $2.4 million for him, sold him drugs, helped him get drugs.
Yeah.
Supposedly helped him sell drugs.
Yeah, and what about being on the side of the road and he...
And yeah, he called him and supposedly called him and wanted him to shoot and kill him, or Buster would get the $10 million life insurance.
Alex wanted Eddie to come over there and shoot him so that his son Buster could get $10 million.
And it was just a little graze in the head.
Mm-hmm.
And the words of Eddie, remember what he said?
Eddie said, if I was going to do that, he'd be dead. That's what Eddie said.
Yeah. So if there was two people,
I'm eating hearts, by the way, y'all.
that would be the guy to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
we're gonna see. Here's the thing too. Alex Murdaugh is a compulsive, lying piece of
Narcissist.
crap. I mean,
Narcissist.
even if he's not guilty of murder, I'm not saying he is. I think he is, but that's my opinion. He's a piece of crap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he is the biggest liar. But this Curtis Eddie Smith, he's the same way. So I don't know how you're going to sort out any truth. He's going to testify. In fact, today they said that he would probably testify tomorrow. Don't know that for a fact, but that's going to be an interesting one, and that's one we'll talk about.
There
later.
was a guy testifying today. I don't know if you guys seen this, but he looked pretty young. Do you remember his name, the young one, where his mom fell down the steps?
Satterfield is the last name. Oh, they have.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Let's get it asked. Why don't they check any money transfers between Eddie and Alex? They have $2.4 million, and supposedly that was laundering the money.
Mm-hmm.
But people have killed people for a lot less than that.
But I wanted to talk about the guy that was testifying today, the skinny one. Did you guys see him?
That was a Satterfield.
He had a speech problem or something. Mm-hmm. He had a disability. Well, his brother had a bigger disability than him. Two brothers. Murdaugh promised them the $100,000 apiece.
Well, he got $4 million.
He ended up getting over $4 million. And those boys had nothing. Their mother just died. They got absolutely nothing.
And I think those boys were really dependent on their mother because of their disability.
They're bad disabled.
But you look at the one man with the Mack truck,
Mm-hmm.
Paralyzed, bedridden, dies. And they said that in that court case, Alec was the one that did the argument in that court case. Said he was so passionate.
Yeah.
And it was such a heartfelt presentation. They stole her money.
Uh-huh.
We talked the other night about this. I'd like to know other people's point of view, speculation. We've speculated that, Maggie had hired her own CPAs to look into the money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The accident with Paul was going to cripple him and expose him because he didn't have any money.
Right.
Was the motive anger and desperation of being exposed more and anger at Paul? If he did the murders? And the thing is, here's the thing, women kill their husbands all the time.
Possibly. He's possibly a sociopath, ain't he?
Possibly.
We know for sure he's a narcissist because he's a good liar.
Right.
And they're chameleons, right?
But women kill their husbands and husbands kill their wife all the time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes it's money,
right.
But how many people?
Walter White. from Breaking Bad. Yeah. Uh,
That's
is
funny.
that Seth?
That's funny. That's funny.
Is that Seth? I wonder. Let's get it.
No, I don't think so.
Because that's just funny that they would mention that. Huh?
Yeah, it is funny. We'll have to find out. But anyway, getting back to it, um, how many parents
See, I think he knew she was going to be.
to expose by her and she was going to
Yeah,
yeah, but the how
that's
many
that's exactly what I think.
how many okay, and I'm going back to the theory there, the idea of maybe two shooters. He was angry.
From New York. Appreciate the life. Oh,
Well,
thank
hello in New
you.
York.
Yeah, hi.
If he was angry with the son. I've been angry with my son, wouldn't blow his head off. If he was that angry with the son and then scared of Maggie, that goes back to it very possibly could be two people.
Mhm.
I know he's an animal. I know he loves money, but did someone else shoot Paul and Alex shoot Maggie?
It's a big possibility.
Yeah.
You know, we may not ever know what happened, what really happened here. You know? Hey, how's our volume, y'all? Is it good? Awesome. Yay. When we use the phone, it's not very good. There's a big difference from the laptop and the phone, the cell phone.
He
Yes.
worships, yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
He'll do anything to get it.
I'll add one more thing to
You
this.
know, money is his drug, though.
Mhm.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's his drug.
Where is all the money?
You guys, where'd all the money go?
Where'd it go? Was he going to take off? And is it on an offshore account? You know, where is it?
When it comes down to it, how much did you say?
Over
When we-
$15 million.
Yeah.
But they're saying now that before it's all said and done, because they're still investigating, they could reach 20 million. Um, you know, if you were spending that kind of money, it would be obvious. You know,
He has nothing to show for $15-20 million. Where's the money at?
he felt the need to be worshipped. Yeah, and that's in that
Mhm.
area, those people were like put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
This law firm was founded by his great grandfather in 1910, and he destroyed it. He destroyed it.
1910.
But it'd be interesting to know. We probably never will know where the money's at. But it's hidden because he hasn't spent that kind. You can't do that many drugs.
Right.
Um,
That's what
an
we.
accomplice.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, see, and we're going to go on that tomorrow night or the next time we're on. They know of 3 accomplices, and there's probably
You think the accomplice though has the money?
they know where it's at. Probably.
Yeah.
I'll just give you the 3 names of the accomplices that
Maybe a lover. That's a good point.
be a good lover.
See, what I thought was
That's
possibly
crazy.
he was spending money on women, you know, and I didn't know he had a drug problem.
And 2 people have said, you know, we talked about it, and then someone else come out and said it.
Mm.
You still can't gamble that much,
Right.
but he might have had a gambling problem. But his 3 co-conspirators, their names are Chad Wessendorf, Corey Fleming, and then cousin Eddie, the hillbilly hitman, Curtis Eddie Smith. And we're going to talk about those the next time.
What time do you guys come on? What, 8 to 10 probably?
8, yeah.
I would say probably 8 to 10 usually. I mean, we've only done this a couple times. We're new to this, so.
And we have some videos up about this case.
Yeah, we have a few.
And we'd ask you to watch them and comment.
Like, subscribe, share if you guys want to.
That's great. Thank you. Let's get it. Thank you. This is such an interesting case.
Thank you.
And I was listening to a guy today. I want to bring up.
Thank you for liking.
I'll bring up another point. Okay.
What's up?
There's a man today. He's been following and commentaries and stuff on murder cases for over 40 years. I believe that's what he said. You guys notice that are following this case, none of Maggie's family has been there. None of Maggie's family. He said that was the first time in 40 years.
Thank you, Carla.
That's the first time in 40 years that he'd ever been on a murder case, covering a murder case, that the blood relatives, besides the, of course, Alex is there and Buster's there. He's Alex in blood, but Buster's there. But as far as the murder, the person who was murdered, their siblings, their cousins,
nobody's there
their
for
parents,
her.
Nobody has been there for Maggie. There's got to be a reason for that. Don't know what it is, but I think it's interesting. When he said that, I thought, Randy hasn't been there. John Marvin has for Alex. Yes, Maggie is from South Carolina.
Is she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And they met in high school. And then I think in college, I think they rekindled their relationship or whatever.
No, they went their separate ways and then got back together.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I heard. Yeah, it'd have to be painful. It would have to be. And if they speculation, but if they thought that maybe Alex was innocent, they'd be there to support him.
What would you like to know about their family?
I'll tell you this one thing about the family. The law firm is one of the largest law firms in South Carolina. They do over $100 million worth of settlements a year. And again, it was founded by Alex's father in 1910.
Father or grandfather?
Or a great grandfather, 1910. Well, how they interacted. I guess you're asking about Alec and Maggie and the boys.
Oh my God. I got to tell something about that first.
Okay.
What I heard was that Alec would not go on any guys' nights or anything like that. Anything he did at all was with his family. If he went on vacation, he brought his kids. He didn't care. His family was so important to him, and everyone around him said the same thing. So that's why it's so bizarre that he would do something like that, because supposedly he was a great father. Exactly.
And one thing too that Paul's best friend testified to, and think about this. He was around them all the time. He went hunting with them. He spent nights there. They went golfing together. They hung out, fishing, everything. And he was always with Paul. And most of the time, Alex was there. He said he would describe the relationship between Paul and Alex as best friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
The chameleon thing. Yep. The chameleon.
Yeah, and Uh, let's get it said, weren't there 3 dogs by the kennel and then 2 in the house when the cops showed up? Yes. Yeah, they had two house dogs. Um, the now I'm going over stuff maybe that we went over before, but remember the video Snapchat with Paul and his best friend? That was the guy who testified that Paul and his dad were best friends. And remember the voice in there, the 3 voices.
Yeah.
And they asked him, whose were the 3 voices? And he said, Paul's, Maggie's, and Alex's.
Yep.
He said, how sure are you? He said, 100%.
And they went on that with a few different people, asking people about whose voice were in the videos, and everyone said the same thing.
And Carl asked, can you play a part for that long? About 13 years.
He could have been playing it longer than that, though.
Yeah, but we know that the dirty deeds so far have went back about 13 years.
Well, possibly with the thing with Stephen too. He could have played a part in it.
We don't know.
There are people theorizing about it
Mhm.
that he helped cover it up.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We don't know.
And there's more, and we, we've become private detectives
Yeah.
in this case because we dig and dig and dig.
Yeah, we do.
And we're gonna, do some research on the conspirators.
Whenever I first seen the video about Stephen, this was many years ago, and I never even heard about the Murdaugh family until I watched that. And I mean, that was all the way back in 2015 when it happened. So, and now the Murdaughs are coming up and stuff, and it's like, wow, that's linked to that. Man, that was a long time ago.
Let's get it said. Think about it. He had money troubles. What if someone was coming to kill Alex for the paycheck or for the payback?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've thought about that.
we've thought about that too.
We've talked about it a lot.
But we can't explain away the gun residue in the coat. We can't explain away the trying to intimidate the caregiver and to tell him how long it was at his mother's. You can't explain away the car data. But in this country, we're guilty until proven innocent, and we have to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I'm going to explain something. A reasonable doubt, what that means in the definition of that means that a reasonable person would have no doubt a person's guilty. You've got 12 people. It only takes one of them to say, there's not enough evidence. There's not really been a smoking gun, but there's smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how close they looked at the Randolph Murdaugh estate to look for those guns. But there's a situation where Alex got there the next day. When the next day, it was a few days later after his dad had passed away. He got there, he started to get on the 4-wheeler or the ATV, and it had a flat tire. He jumps in his dad's truck, he goes out in the woods. After a little while, he comes back in, he gets in his truck, and he leaves. What was he doing? And how well was it searched?
Yeah.
Because as earlier, and with let's get it saying, maybe he had an accomplice as far as the murder. He might have. It doesn't make sense for me that you would give any thought to going to kill someone, kill 2 people, and take 2 guns. Because then you've got 2 guns to get rid of. Well, they didn't find either one of them.
Neither one of the guns.
If it was an accomplice, the accomplice took the other gun that they used, and Alex took the other and hit it. Just an idea. Is Alex? No, Alex isn't talking about anything. He sits there, makes facial expressions, chooses candy. He's a good actor. He can cry,
Mhm.
drop of a hat. No, he's not. He'll never admit to anything.
No.
Now his lawyers have basically admitted to the money laundering and money schemes, but nah, he won't ever admit to anything.
You know how Jason is a liar? You know, that narcissistic personality? That's how Alex is. Can't stop lying, can't stop stealing, all those kinds of things.
And another thing, getting back to let's get at what he said too about someone coming to kill Alex for payback. Drug dealers do it all the time.
Yeah.
You owe me money. I'm going to send you a message. I'm going to kill your family. Well, one of my 40 theories in this was Alex showed up. There was hitting in there to send him a message. I don't know.
He probably is.
But the evidence,
his lawyer is probably helping in his
oh
own
yeah,
defense too. Oh yeah.
yeah,
If
he's
you can
helping
tell,
with,
he's writing
yeah,
down stuff
oh yeah,
too.
he's all the time and talking to him.
He knows what he's doing when it comes to law.
And he can't tell them. He can't tell them I killed Maggie and Paul. He can't do it.
Mm-mm.
Because that's where lawyer and client privilege ends.
Mm-hmm.
Commission of a felony.
Really?
Yes. But they pretty well know it.
So if he was to come out and say that to his attorney, what does his attorney do?
His attorney either has to resign as being his attorney of record, or he has to state that he has told him that he's admitted to a felony.
You don't?
You don't think he's guilty? I didn't for a long time.
Me too. I said the same thing.
And he's guilty of something. He's guilty of accessory after the fact, or guilty accessory before the fact. It's going to be interesting. I don't know, and I've said this all along. Well, as you said, isn't it confidential between client and lawyer? Not when you admit to a felony.
Leave one son behind.
And yeah, it doesn't make sense to kill your family and leave one son behind. Well, that son hasn't been much of a problem other than getting caught cheating in school. Paul, with the accident, he opened up a floodgate because they were also suing Alex because he owned the boat and they were suing him personally. So if he killed Paul, it was out of anger because it's just more exposure. He was already exposed that day. Now here, let's get back to something here. I don't mean to jump around, but get to thinking about stuff. When it came to light that he'd been stealing money from the firm, was about 4 to 5 hours when it was discovered, part of it, not all of it. That was discovered about 4 to 5 hours before the murder of Paul and Maggie. Same day. Same day. But he's guilty of something. If he did not pull the trigger, or if he did not have an accomplice and they did it, I find it hard to fathom him blowing his son's head off.
It is not just a housekeeper. It goes on and on. His best friend, like his brother.
Yeah.
And then his brother he stole money from.
Yeah.
I mean, the people, it just goes on and on and on how many people he screwed over.
Yeah, one of the people he stole from was a man who was bedridden, a paraplegic, and he stole his settlement. That's a good question.
Yes.
Amanda Sue, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he didn't have the guts to kill himself side of the road.
Right.
But see, the thing I see in his...
He chickened out, didn't he?
It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I see with him is... lost my train of thought.
I know, I hate that. I hate that. I do it a lot.
he is so manipulative, and they talk about how he can intimidate people. They talk about how he can read people. Um, but also keep in mind, and I keep going back to this: Maggie was no longer living at Mazzell. She had moved into the beach house. She had text messaged one of her friends. Alex wants me to come out tonight and go with him to see his father tomorrow. He's up to something. She would have had suspicion. She hired her own CPA. Okay. I'm sure he knew this. So he knew that she was on to him too, and she's going to get what she could and run. Just my speculation. And then the anger of Buster and the accident and killing the girl, um, opening him up
Buster.
or not Buster, I'm sorry, Paul.
Paul having the boat wreck.
Boat wreck and the girl getting killed. That just opened it up because they were going after his assets. And it was about to come, they were working in court to try to get copies, proof of Alex's assets. And that was within days
3 days, I think,
of going to court and him having to prove his assets.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? The same day, remember? The same day that he got busted and he had to resign, was it he had to resign?
No, they didn't force him that day.
Okay.
They didn't force him.
Well, when he got busted for taking money from the firm, that's the day that his family was killed. Is that a coincidence or not?
I don't know. I'm looking at what Amanda Sue said. Hence why he went and got another gun and already called 911 so they'd all be found. You know, that might
Exactly. Where is that money? We want to know too.
This idea here too, if she's getting to what I think she is.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he meant to kill himself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He went and got another gun
Mm-hmm.
and had already called 911 so they'd all be found. Okay. But he didn't have time to hide two other guns. So if that theory is correct, he found them dead, someone else killed him, and he was going to kill himself. Right?
Right. He had to have an accomplice, though. You know it?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Again, I can't.
Why would he? Wait. Why would he steal all this money and then kill himself?
Wouldn't make any sense. Who's going to get the money? Buster?
That makes no sense. Unless Buster knows he has some kind of offshore accounts, or Buster would have to know what's going on.
Somebody knows where that money's at. That's a lot of money.
The closest person to him would be Buster.
What did Paul know? What?
He thought he was getting away.
Yeah, and that's asinine that anyone would think that. That he would even think that, though. I mean, because a thief eventually gets caught if they keep stealing.
Narcissists think they're smarter than everybody else, though.
Yeah.
They put themselves on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And they think very highly of themselves.
That's right. Yeah, someone does have the money, and
maybe so. Someone we don't know about.
Oh yeah,
that's a big possibility.
Yeah, it sure is. One of these guys that got in trouble, and I won't go into a great deal because I don't know. I've got to look at it more. Was a banker was involved with him.
A banker?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was fired and indicted.
Damn.
So I mean, it's he went from having all the way from a redneck to a banker involved. Very possible. Very possible. By virtue of the fact Maggie's phone was found on the side of the road, and not Paul's leads me to believe that Maggie was the target and Paul was collateral damage, leaving no witness. It's possible.
Hmm.
It's possible. And you know, the thing is, good point. I don't think that Alex knew Paul was coming. He had invited Maggie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Paul just showed up.
You know the sad thing about all this?
You think Maggie was really? She was, wasn't she? She was the target.
Very possible.
Yeah. It really does seem like
That's
it.
a good theory.
Yeah.
Or could be a legitimate theory.
Yes.
But the whole thing about this, the sad thing about this, is there's probably a 99% chance none of us will ever know the truth.
Right.
What happened? We're going to be speculating about this case every time we think about it for the rest of our lives because he's never going to admit to anything.
Amanda, mine too. Mine
Yeah, it
sure
does.
does. Yeah. It can go all kinds of different ways.
But one thing too that, and I've said this before on some of the videos, is we can't even imagine. We can't even imagine doing this to one of our children.
You know, it's not just that he killed him. He shot him with this gun that his brain was laying by his leg. It was way overkill. That's how bad it was.
That's what I was getting to, Carla and Amanda Sue.
It wasn't just a little bit of kill. It wasn't just a shot in the head. It was blew his brains out.
We can't.
No,
imagine.
Mom. Mm-mm.
We can't.
Yeah, but that extreme. I'm sorry.
We can't imagine murdering our children, killing our children, blowing our son's head off. We can't imagine that. But we're not Alex Murdaugh. We don't worship money. And you know, he's not been proven guilty yet. And I'll say that until the jury comes out. But I think he loved money that much. I think he was angry, felt like he's up against the wall. His wife's going to leave him. She's digging into it. His son cost him all kinds of heartache and exposure.
Yeah.
And anything he had left material wise, he was probably going to lose because he blew everything. He was $360,000 overdrawn on his checking account. If I did that, they'd bury me under the jail.
And what happened with that, with him being overdrawn like that?
Nothing.
Nothing?
His brother loaned him $46,000, and he said he could get the rest of it. But
Gosh.
that's why the banker got fired. They had he had 2 lines of credit. He had one line of credit that was $1 million. So in other words, when you got a line of credit, you know, you can write checks, whatever, you're covered up to $1 million. That account's balance was less than $10. He had another line of credit, which was $600,000, and that account only had about $1,000 balance.
What is he doing with all this money? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It's got to be hidden. I bet he buried it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I agree drug addiction is expensive, but I think you could buy Coke for the whole state of South Carolina and OD on it with the money he stole.
Look at that. Because he had addictions, I guess. And
No,
he had
that money was, Carla, that's a good point. Here's my theory. Because all that money was overseas already in an offshore account.
Yeah.
So he didn't have access to that money. He couldn't touch that money. So then he's getting desperate and he's overdrawing the bank account, spending his line of credit.
Yeah, and he said to Chris, you know, that one time he said annuities. So if he's into that kind of stuff,
It'd be
what
traceable.
if he's got an account somewhere offshores and he's drawing interest and stuff like that? off this millions of
That-
dollars that he stole.
That interest can't go to him. It's got to go to somebody they haven't looked at yet.
Right.
And you know, Buster's under a microscope.
Yeah.
His family's under a microscope.
Right.
So there's another person out there, and if that's true, and he's getting that interest, he's getting it through them.
That's right.
He's not paying for his attorneys.
Shoot. There's no way.
I believe John Marvin, his younger brother,
Yeah.
is paying for his attorneys.
His brothers have been so good to him.
And we were talking about it earlier about Randy and about John Marvin. And I think Randy's pretty well said,
Yeah.
this is it. He was one of the partners in the law firm, so they had to cover that $7 million. But, well, I actually had to cover that $15.8 million.
$15.8 million
$15.8 million.
From that law firm.
And they're saying it will probably surpass 20 million if it's said and done. But I think Randy's fed up with them, and Randy's hasn't been in court. But I think John Marvin is, if you've ever been a little brother, you got a big brother, you always kind of look up to him unless he's a piece of crap. And by all accounts, Alex is, but
his brother's sticking by him.
His brother, and he still looks up to him. And I think he would go down with him if he had to.
Yeah.
I don't think he's guilty of anything but loving his stupid brother. And that's the way Randy was till he finally stung Randy so much.
Yeah. You notice there was like a 20/20 or 48 hours or something like that. They were both on there and they were being interviewed by the lady, and they were hardcore set on he was innocent of everything. They could have never imagined this, I bet. Could you even imagine one of your family members, somebody so close to you, doing something like this? Ripping off the whole family. Their work.
Let's get it. Just ask, will the other son testify? Buster is scheduled to testify on behalf of his father. He is.
That's going to be interesting.
They thought this whole thing was just going to go a few weeks, and it's in the 4th week.
Yeah.
And the prosecution isn't done.
It is so long. This case is, it's just.
No, he's never. Carl asked, I wonder if he's going to get out of this. Carla, he may get out of the murders, but he's not going to get out of the 99 indictments. He will never walk free again.
No. It's over 100 years in prison, I think is that 150 years he's looking at?
Crazy. He'll never see the light of day. No, I don't either. I mean, she said, I don't think he's going to go against his dad. No. Yeah, and Carl asks, so the family stand behind him. His son is, and his one brother, his sister has not made any statement one way or the other, but she's been there every day. If you look in the courtroom,
Yep.
yes, he probably hasn't brainwashed. You're absolutely right. He brainwashed a lot of people. If you look in the courtroom, you'll see John Marvin, Buster's girlfriend, and then there's a heavier set, light brown or blonde-headed lady sitting next to Buster's girlfriend. That is Alex Murdaugh's sister. Yeah, I think Alex had a lot of people brainwashed. Well, he was, in the courtroom, he was a master manipulator.
Yeah.
He intimidated people. Look what he does. There's a sergeant for the sled. He was the first guy on the scene during the murders, and he testified. His testimony was so damaging to Alec. He said there was a lot of boo-hooing, but no tears. It took a long time to work up tears. Different stuff he said. Well, now he's in charge of security detail. Okay.
Right.
And Alex Murdaugh is a big guy.
But the thing is, he's got handcuffs on and shackles on his feet. But you watch him when he steps out of that, the first person, when he steps out of that van, the first person he sees is that sergeant,
Mm-hmm.
and he glares at him. If looks could kill, oh, Sarge be dead. So he is an intimidating, or
Yeah.
tries to be an intimidating person. He's bullied his way through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
His money, his overpowering size,
He's
that
huge.
devil eyes. I
Yeah.
mean, he would
The
intimidate.
stare.
Yeah, he would intimidate witnesses. Then he could turn the charm on the clients,
Mm-hmm.
and how sympathetic, and then just monster.
He's a monster. In our eyes, he's a monster. You know, at the very beginning, I didn't believe that somebody could do what he's done. What I think he's done to his family. I couldn't see somebody doing that. I was like, no, he's innocent. I mean, I was completely, he's innocent, he's innocent, he's innocent. But then the more I dug into it, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to believe he did that. I was like, nah.
I want to make a statement. This will probably surprise you.
Go ahead.
I really do hope that he didn't do this to his wife and his son.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. But I think he probably did. Or he was a accessory before or after the fact.
Yeah.
Or a co-conspirator. But it would not make me happy, but it would make me feel better about a fellow human being if he didn't do it.
Right. Right. Me too. I mean, I don't want him. No.
Oh yeah, they're going to make
there's way too much.
Do you think they'll make a movie? They're going to make a blockbuster out of this.
Yeah.
There is not a screenwriter, an author in this world that can write a story like this with their imagination.
That's exactly what I said last night. They're probably going to make it like soon.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Write a book.
Yeah.
Make a movie.
Well,
billions of dollars.
Yeah, a case like this, the prosecutor,
Mm-hmm.
the defense attorney, and the judge all could quit their job and write a book and
Yeah.
be set for life because there's so many people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you want to cut this down and
We can
be
cut it.
done?
I think I've talked enough. I don't know about
Dark
you.
stuff.
It is very dark.
Yeah, it really is. You need to look into, Mom, you need to look into how many people got ripped off by this man.
It's
sick.
It's unbelievable.
It's very, very sick. Especially the closer people to you. I mean, the closest people to you,
I haven't been called cute in decades, but thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's coming to Netflix next month. What? Are you serious? You're not serious, are you? Let's get it. Are you serious?
Well, Netflix has already done a couple short movies on this case, but they got to be careful, what they say. We're going to be back.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.
We're going to look at the.
Let's wait until we see what happens in court tomorrow, and possibly Eddie, the cousin, is going to testify. That's going to give us a lot of things to talk about.
We have some really good conversations.
What'd she?
She said, "I can only imagine the conversations you both have."
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we actually almost sometimes debate in a friendly way.
Yeah.
And sometimes she wins me over seeing her point of view, or I win her over.
Yeah. He for the longest time he was saying Murdaugh was guilty, Alex was guilty, and I was saying no, he's not. And I mean, just the more I heard, not from him, but the more I heard about all these things that were going on with him, I felt it in my heart. It was like time to switch sides,
Good night. Let's get it. Come back and see us.
Yeah, okay. We'll see you guys soon, okay? I'll post on my community page and let you guys know when I'm going live, and on Facebook too.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you guys have a good night. Thank you.
God bless.